We've reviewed many of the problems that exist with these bureaucratic agencies, and there are definitely a lot of people that believe that these agencies have become too large, too numerous, too powerful, all that kind of stuff. But it is important to realize that there are built-in checks within our system on the influence of these agencies. So we're going to quickly look and see how each branch has the ability to sort of control to some degree what these agencies do. So first, we'll look at the presidency. Obviously, there's not going to be a ton of checks within the executive branch on the bureaucracy because the bureaucracy is part of the executive branch. But obviously, it is also important to note that the president appoints the leaders of these agencies, and there is some loyalty to the president and what the president wants them to do as a result of getting their jobs from him. So that's one of the checks that the president has on these agencies that he appoints their leaders. The courts do what the courts always do, which is they implement judicial review. They review the decisions made by all government officials to make sure they're constitutional. If these agencies implement a rule or do something that is unconstitutional, the courts can strike that action down and prevent it from going into effect. But the main source of control on these agencies comes from Congress. Congress can control the actions of these agencies because they control all of the funding for these agencies because they have control over the budget process. Congress can kill an agency's programs by essentially depriving it of its funding in like the next budget that they approve. Or likewise, they could increase the funding of these agencies. So that definitely gives Congress a lot of influence over these agencies because they can sort of bribe them with either decreasing or increasing their funding. They also have the ability to engage in what's called oversight. Oversight is important for you to know for the AP test. It's the idea that Congress can actually force the leaders of these agencies to come to Congress and testify before them. They can actually subpoena them, like force them to come testify in front of them. And they can ask them all sorts of questions about what the agencies are doing and if there's problems with the agencies. And if you lie before Congress when you're testifying, it's like lying in court. You're committing perjury and you can be prosecuted for that. Obviously, also, Congress is responsible for approving all the appointments of the leaders of the agencies. And they also are responsible for passing laws that sort of can limit what the agencies do well as well or establish limits on them. So, for example, these are all examples of laws that were passed by Congress that were really meant to like rein in the bureaucracy in some way. So Congress has passed what are called like sunshine laws. These are requirements that every single government agency has to hold public meetings. So you know exactly like what they're doing. There's more transparency, and it's not a big secret what the agency does. They've also passed what are called sunset laws. This establishes requirements that programs run by these agencies have to be like renewed or reauthorized by Congress almost every year. Otherwise, the sun sets on them and they expire. That just prevents these agencies from getting money over and over again without having to demonstrate that what they're doing is actually beneficial or helpful. One of the more significant laws passed by Congress is the Hatch Act, which is old. It was passed in 1933. This prevents people that work for the government and these agencies from engaging in political activity while like on the job. Like for example, this would prevent your mailman, right, who is a government employee, from delivering your mail, and as he or she is delivering your mail, telling you that you need to vote for this candidate or that candidate and exercising political influence while on the job. Another significant, more recent law passed by Congress is called the Whistleblower Protection Act. This just provides protection from employees of these agencies um, that come forward and alert the public and Congress to the fact that these agencies are doing something illegal or wrong. This protects their job and prevents them from like having revenge taken against them by the leaders of these agencies for sort of bringing forth the fact that the agency is doing something that it shouldn't be doing. It gives them legal protection.